And we continue here on this Monday morning. If you just joined us, we welcome you. Coleman and Company. Today we have Derrick Hammond, who is a candidate for Assessor Property on the general election ballot coming up August 1st. And early voting, you already told us, is the 12th?
July the 12th through the 27th.
Right. Okay, now, you were telling us about some Wilson County tax revenue that's lost due to undervalued properties, and so we're waiting to hear about this.
Okay, so first of all, Coleman, I didn't have time to scrub the entire county sales file, but what I did do is I found 27 properties, and these 27 properties, just these 27, Coleman, and I've got to say this as well, these are just sales that have occurred. This is information that anyone can find, as I stated, if you go to the Division of Property Assessments website. But tax dollars lost annually from just these 27 properties is $1.3 million. And over the reappraisal cycle, that would be approximately $6,600,000. And that is just from these 27 properties. So you can understand that that was very concerning when I noticed that. And so also what this indicates to us is regardless of the property type, whether we are talking about a hotel, whether we're talking about retail, whether we're talking about fast food, whatever we're talking about, this is also an indication of those values being low as well, even though they haven't sold. And so I just want to hit a couple of highlights for on my list, and I'm sure you're going to have questions, and I'm happy to have that conversation. And so number 12 is on Pleasant Grove Road. It is a vacant land parcel right there near Walmart, Lowe's, and that shopping center. That property is on for $277,700. That is a base tax of $1,325. The property sold September the 12th of 2019 for $3 million, Coleman. And so what I'm saying to you is it's on the tax roll for $27,700, less than my home, and it sold for $3 million in 9/12 of 2019. And the reason the date is important, Coleman, is our last reappraisal was 2021. So they would have had access to this sales information. Our assessor would have had access to the sales information prior to the reappraisal. So this should have been factored in during the reappraisal program. And so what we're talking about here is a tax escaping taxes of approximately $21,000 a year, Coleman, where their base tax is $1,325, and they should be paying $22,900 in property taxes. And so when you stop and think about this, and I've got others, and what is most damaging about this property, Coleman, is it is assessed residentially, like your home and my home and everyone's home in the county, as opposed to 40% like a commercial industrial property should be. So not only are they escaping taxation due to being undervalued, but they're also escaping taxation due to the difference in the ratio. Residentially, we pay on 25% of our property value. Commercial pays on 40%. And the thought process behind that is commercial industrial property is used to make a return on your money. And so your home, yeah, you hope it appreciates, but it is not the return on your money that you expect out of a investment property. I've got another property that I want to share with you out on South Mount Juliet Road. It sold in 12/10 of 2020, which is once again right before the reappraisal cycle. And Coleman, that's sale number 2. South Mount Juliet Road, it is on the roll for $7,127,500, a base tax of $54,423. The sales price, however, was $12,540,000. A correct base tax would be $95,000. So Coleman, once again, that property is losing. We are losing $20,000 in tax dollars annually on that property. And I'm just going to give you another. And this is, and so I am going to say this is a property out on North Mount Juliet Road, sale number 9. It is on the tax roll for $31,680,000. That's a base tax of approximately $206,000. It sold 6/8 of 22. And and someone would immediately say to me, well, Derrick, why are you talking about that? I'm talking about that because sales that occur a year or so after the reappraisal cycle, we look at those in the business to give us either confidence that we did a good job or indicates that we didn't do so good of a job. And so what I'm saying to you is that property is on the roll for $31,680,000. It sold June of 22 for $91 million, Coleman. So their base tax is approximately $206,000. Their base tax should be $700,000, Coleman. And so when we stop and talk about losing our teachers, losing our police officers, losing our firefighters, losing our EMTs, when the county commission starts talking about a 200% wheel tax increase, when they're having concerns about the budget and increasing the tax rate, what I'm saying is, just as a doctor does, a doctor is going to treat your source, the source of your sickness, not just the symptoms. They may give you some cough medicine to help the cough, but if you've got some kind of infection, they're going to give you penicillin or an antibiotic to address that. So as our county commissioners and our mayors in our various cities in the county, as they do their best to ensure that budgets are appropriate, you first have to make sure the values are appropriate.
All right, if you were property assessor, what would you do about this? And how soon would you attack this?
I would do it within my first 90 days, Coleman, because there is a statute called, correction of error. And what that does is it allows you to identify properties that have been inappropriately valued. And so what you're then able to do is you're then able to say, hey, due to this error, you received inappropriate benefits, and so now you owe the government X. And so that is one tool that can be done. But the other tool, and the most important tool, is to immediately start training that staff, Coleman, because the assessor can't see everything. However, it is his or her responsibility to know what's going on in that office. And if you appropriately train your staff, then your staff is going to catch that. One of my past experiences in the assessment field is I was a manager of sales verification. What that means is every single deed that transferred in the county came across my desk. So either I put eyes on it or my staff put eyes on it. And so when we would see something like this that came out, like the land value that is on for just under $300,000 that sold for $3 million, the first thing that appraiser or staff member should do is immediately look at it, make sure we are correct about the classification, and then start building models to appropriately value that property. And once again, Coleman, it cannot be understated. That sale occurred in 2019. So they were working on the reappraisal program in 19 and 20, getting it ready for 21. So that is absolutely unacceptable, and I can say that because I've been on the other side where that information came across my desk, and I had to address those issues.
Is the fact that we are so fast growing causing part of this? I mean, can you, as tax assessors, property assessor, take care of this with the staff that you have, or a slight increase? You seem passionate about this, and that if you're elected, that this is something you're going to jump into with both feet, as we say.
Absolutely, and I'm passionate about it, Coleman, because I believe right is right, and if I've got to pay my fair share, everybody should pay their fair share, and that's just. And so one of the things that we talk about is fairness and equity and ethical and unbiased assessment on my platform. And so when you look at this, you see that this ain't fair, this ain't equitable, and whether it is, as I stated, it's not fair, it's not equitable. And as far as the ability to address it, Coleman, first I've got to figure out if my staff is capable and competent. Because if my staff isn't capable and competent, what I then have to do is I have to do the work, which I've done it for 28 years, so it's no problem with rolling up my sleeves and jumping in it both feet. But I'm going to have to allow my staff to have time to catch up. So it is going to be a lot of training in those first 90 days and a lot of popping the hood because, hey, you really don't know what you're getting when you buy a used car until you pop the hood and you drive it. And so there's a lot that will come to light in those first 90 days if I'm elected assessor of property after I'm able to pop the hood, look at everything that is done in that office, processes and procedures. And if the people of Wilson County choose to elect me, Coleman, I would love to come right back on your show within those first 90 days, tell you exactly what I've seen and the solutions the solutions that I have to get this stuff taken care of.
You feel very confident about it, apparently. You're talking about, what, 27 properties here on these two sheets of paper?
Yes.
Do you think there's a lot more?
Absolutely, because Coleman, this is only 27 sales, and we have hundreds of sales in our sales package over a 5-year period. So what I'm saying is, because I've done the work, Coleman, I know previous responsibilities, as I stated, was manager of sales verification, where I read the deeds, my staff read the deeds, previous experience of building the base rates for all properties, whether it's commercial, industrial, whether it's a hospital, whether it's a retail, whether it's a fast food restaurant. I've done all of that, so I know the ins and outs. I don't have to make a call to Nashville to make a decision.
We're out of time. You've got about 15 seconds to wrap it up here.
Wilson County, I am the best, most qualified candidate for the job. And I know that you're going to see D on the ballot, but this is a nonpartisan issue. What we're looking at is we are looking for the best, most qualified candidate, because ultimately your tax dollars, they aren't earmarked Democrat, Republican, or Independent. They're earmarked you, and you want to spend the appropriate tax dollars, and I want everyone to.
Well,